Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com, and I'm here to share with you my outside the box ideas that I created with the September 2021 paper pumpkin kit from Stampin' Up, titled Haunts and Harvest. These kits, which are delivered straight to my mailbox each month, contain everything I need to make fun, creative paper crafting cards and projects. This month's kit contains supplies for making 12 fun treat boxes. And it also included a few extra supplies for repurposing the box that the kit came in to create a vintage wheelbarrow. Each kit includes a publication like this one with directions, full color illustrations, details about the kit, and a link to access a how-to video so you can assemble the cards or projects as shown. The kits also include inks and stamps that can be used again and again even after the consumables are used up. This September kit included a soft succulent ink pad and this exclusive stamp set. The kits are a Stampin' Up! Product, so the colors, images, and supplies always coordinate with many other products they have. I'll be using some of these in the alternate projects I create today. You can find the items I used listed below and linked to my online store, along with links to learning more about paper pumpkin kits, starting your subscription through me so I can spoil you with exclusive ideas, gifts, and prizes, joining my Paper Pumpkin fan club on Facebook where you can see even more alternate project ideas shared daily, and if you're watching this video on YouTube, a link to my website where I've shared photos of the projects you're going to see today. I received a large clear block in my first Paper Pumpkin kit to use with all my future stamps. That tool and my scissors are the only extra items I really need for completing my kits as is. But you'll notice that I substitute that block for the ergonomic Stampin' Up! Block since I have several of those. I also use my larger version of the ink pad and some additional adhesive, such as my Stampin' Seal. You won't need these, of course, but they're available products from Stampin' Up! And they're a bit easier and quicker for me to use while I demonstrate in my video. By the way, if you're looking for ideas for past kits, visit my website at StampYourArtOut.com, click on Paper Pumpkin in the top menu, then choose Recent or Older Posts. I've been creating and sharing alternates since March of 2013 when Paper Pumpkin first began. I'm excited to create, so let's get started. So you can see in the kit you can make these colorful pumpkins in orange, yellow, green, and then of course we've got apples in there. On the back side you can see that they've done some alternate boxes. They've made a cute little turkey and they've made a Frankenstein in here. Now the turkey, by the way, has one little flap that's held upwards. You can see for the head there. I'm just going to take this red box that's almost assembled and just show you quickly what they did here. So they put these three flaps inward first, and then they connected two of the three that have the little hook sections. Okay, so they've got that in there. But these two remain loose. This one kind of gets held in there by those two. So you would have to then put a little adhesive, some kind of tape in there, maybe dimensionals or something, just to hold it back, and then this becomes the head of your turkey, your bird. For the eyeballs, I think what they could have done, now I'm not sure, I don't think it's possible, I don't know if it's true or not, but they could have taken like, one of these little guys here, because it looks like the eyeballs on here are kind of sticking out a bit on the black. So then I thought, they probably brought in these matte, where are they? Matte black dots. Let me grab those. These little guys here, and use the smaller ones. So let me just show you what that would look like. If we're just to take one of these smaller ones here and connect it onto that white eyeball just slightly below, you can see how that could have become the turkey eyeballs. So that would be my suggestion if you're going to recreate this. And then you can just cut out a little triangle of orange cardstock for the beak, a little red on the bottom for, I think that's called the wattle, I don't know. The tail feathers are basically just the box pieces. So let me show those with here. So I think they used the orange ones and then so these colors here, and they just hand cut their own, little fussy cut their own tail feathers and just stuck them to the back of the box. Now for the Frankenstein, you can see that they used one of the green boxes and colored in the head with some dark black ink. The eyebrows on those eyes are the upside down mouths. So you get these fun little face stickers, and it's just those little mouths turned upside down for the eyebrows. The eyeballs, so I'm going to suggest using this punch. We don't carry circle punches right now. I know that's odd, but the snowman punch can make a few different sizes, and so let me show you what you could do for that. So just take and punch from some white scrap, and I would go a little further in to the snowman body and just grab, punch a couple of these. But once you've grabbed and punched one, you can overlap them in this direction over each other like that, and then just take your sharp scissors, your paper snips or whatever, and use that as a guide to cut one, and then you can flip it over and you can cut another. And what you've got now are two ovalish, circle-ish pieces that could be used as the eyes. You could take, and I think what they did here is they just used smaller little punched out purple cardstock or whatever, but you could use sequins. We have colorful sequins. It almost looks kind of sequin-like. Or you could use those matte black dots again, and those come in a slightly larger size too. So I use the small one for this guy here. So this is the small one that I used, and then the larger one could go on top of these eyeballs here for your Frankenstein. Okay, let's move away from those ideas that have already been shared. I just wanted to give you tips on those, but I want to tell you, if you're not into the Halloween look, or you don't want to go with fall or whatever, but you still want to do something cute with these boxes, and let's say you're a mom or a grandma or whatever, you've got kids around, little kids. There's a red side or a green side to every one of these boxes. Every box has either a red side or a green side, or one has both. With the help of some orange or pumpkin pie cardstock, basic white cardstock, basic black, the Snowman Builder Punch, I would also bring in the multi-purpose liquid glue, the matte black dots that we just showed you, and I think that's it. I think those extra products will help create some Oscar the Grouch and Elmo Sesame Street themed fun little treat boxes. So I'm going to make those really quickly. I love that these boxes have two different color choices. You could do it either way. And the closure on top is so super awesome. Look at this. So you close two of them together, then you take the other one and wrap that underneath and around. And all three of them together, just hugging each other, makes the closure on top. And you can kind of lift it up, and that allows you to put the twisty thing on top. I guess I threw in a dimensional too for the back of Elmo's nose. So the nose and the eyes, obviously made from the snowman, the top part of the snowman punch. This piece here is actually from your kit. It's the little sticks that come in the kit, and I just unraveled it a little bit and twisted it differently and trimmed off, maybe about 2 inches to make the eyebrows for Oscar here. I'm probably going to trim off just a little bit here too. This is just a thin strip of black cardstock, just kind of wound around. He doesn't smile a whole heck of a lot, and when he does, it's an evil smile. You can tell by his eyebrows. But there we have Oscar the Grouch and Elmo, in case you wanted to do your whole box filled with fall or non-autumn themed holidays. Another idea is to take and turn the red one into strawberries. So let's do that really quick. So let's put together our box. This one looks really good as a strawberry, although the other red, and of course you have lots of red in the box too, but I think you like 2/3 of it you could do in strawberries. So you could use either one of these. This one just has more of a strawberry little speckled look. So we're going to start with that one. And I normally don't introduce metal dies, which is a tool that Stampin' Up! Sells, because I know that a lot of paper crafters that get paper pumpkin kits are doing it because they want something quick and easy to go. So they may not be the avid crafter. But if you are an avid crafter and you happen to have a die cutting machine like the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine or something similar, you can get this set of dies. And this one comes from you can see all the different border edges here. It's called Basic Borders. And it's the one that actually produces kind of like a cloud outline. And so I took and pressed it against my strip of Early Espresso cardstock. And when you do that and you run it through this machine, the fine little parts here cut your paper in half. And you can even see like this one creates a really fun little stitching along both sides of that die cut paper. So we're going to take this piece here, and I've already cut down one of my boxes to just have this little piece. So it's just 1/6 of the box. And I'm just gonna, bend it back, and I'm gonna lay this down so that this edge is lined up with the edge of my brown cardstock. And I'm gonna lay that there, and I'm gonna hold it firm. I'm gonna flip the whole thing over. I'm gonna take my paper scissors and snip, turn it, and snip. And then I'm gonna put that piece down to the left. So that one's going to be the first piece. Then I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to start so that this edge is lined up with that left. I don't want it to come in this far. I want it to go off the edge so that this is lined up there. And again, make sure that your two bottom edges are even with each other. Take your paper snips and trim. And you're going to do that so that you do that 6 different times because you've got 6 sides to your box. So you might actually have to cut out a couple of these. So when you're done, you've got 6 pieces. We're going to go ahead and start gluing those on. So what are we making? We're making a chocolate dipped strawberry. So you could have a whole box of chocolate dipped strawberries. And for the leaves, you could use, a few of these put together on the top. These are closer to what the leaves look like for a strawberry than the other ones that are wider like this. But these aren't quite the color. So there's a flip side. There's a white side to these leaves, and you could bring in a blending brush and the Granny Apple green color, and you could take and change the color of your leaves. You could also take and use this as kind of a stencil. Trace this onto some Granny Apple green cardstock and cut it out with your paper snips. And then we might as well put the veins of the leaves in there. And you can take your bone folder and you can curl it and maybe curl the end so it's going the opposite way. So now you've got this nice curvy leaf, and we can put a couple of them together and stick them close to the top of the strawberry box. Now, this isn't necessarily where those leaves go when you've got strawberries. Basically, you've got these little tiny pieces coming off of that and a stem, and the stem is connected to these leaves. But, we don't get too technical when we do these. And then we'll just use the glue dots and we'll add them, or we could use the multi-purpose liquid glue. We'll add these to the inside, well, underneath the intersection at the top of the box. And there's our fun chocolate dipped strawberry. Yum. Now there is a set of 4 boxes that you won't be able to do with the strawberry because you don't have red on it. So you can take and assemble it so that the pale papaya color is on the inside. And instead of using the bone folder as you saw in the beginning to curve the petals inward, the petals of the box inward, you can take and curve them outwards like this. Your box does not have to have a closure on it to be a box. It can still be a party favor or just a little treat container that you fill with some fun candy or a gift or whatever. We'll just take and cut right along the curve here, follow the flow. By the way, as per the directions of the kit, it's easier to do the curling of these pieces before you assemble. But I wanted to surprise you because we have now a flower box. You can turn them into flowers. You could take and put, I don't know, some baby socks rolled up on the inside to be the center of the flower, and that would be a fun little baby shower gift. You could put chocolate in the center with brown wrappings or gold wrappings, and you'd have this really fun, I don't know, like a sunflowery look in a way. But you could have flowers and chocolate dipped strawberries, and you'd be able to use up all of your kit with those boxes. Okay, let's do something else. Let's do something flat now. Let's bring in this piece. So I've already cut off one section because I wanted to use it as kind of a tracer for my chocolate, right? But we're going to go ahead and we're just going to cut into all of those pieces. Now, if you're on the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club on Facebook, which all of you should be a part of if you're fans of these kits, that is a group where you can get tons of ideas. I get lots of inspiration there as well. And I was looking through the first several projects that people were sharing, and I loved the idea of taking these pieces and kind of rounding them out a bit and turning them into kind of like an oval. So we're gonna go ahead and round the base like this a bit. Now the rounder they are, the more perfect they look, right? But you're just gonna come in and kind of round off these sides here where they kind of came to a little bit of a corner. You can round that as well. You know what, I think I'm gonna round this a little bit more here. And once you like one that you've done, you can use it kind of as a template to do the rest of them. So I think, yeah, I'm trying to make this one a little more narrow at the top. If I wanted to, I could do the same trick that I did with the snowman punch, and I could put one on top of the other and use that to trace. Do you see what I mean? So I could have used this to kind of curve this out, but I want this to be slightly narrower on top, so I'm going to play with this a little bit. And now I'm going to use this one to line up with 4 other pieces. And I'm just going to come in and do the same thing. So the same kind of cut on all of them. Okay, so I've got those 5 cut out now. I'm going to set them aside. I'm going to bring in some base cardstock and a layer. I'm going to start with basic black, and I'm going to cut to 5.5 inches in this direction because that's half of 11. We'll turn it this way and we'll score it down the middle in this direction. This is 8.5 this way, so half of that is 4.25. So I've got my card base. Use my bone folder to give it a good crease. And then we've got this paper. So this is also considered black. It is from our cute Halloween designer paper. You can see, let me show you all the fun designs. So these are the black and white sides that I kind of had on display at the beginning of the video. And then the other side has these fun little colorful designs and patterns and faces on them and really cute stuff. But one of them has this black tone, and I just like the black on black look. So we're going to cut a layer that is 4 inches by 5.25 inches. And that's going to go here. And then we're going to keep this separate and we're going to build up a pumpkin. So again, thank you to all of those that were creating on the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club this awesome idea. We've done this with ovals in the past, like when we had oval punches or oval dies, you'd take and you'd do, or you could even do it with circles, but you'd do 5 and you'd start with 1 in the middle and then you'd tuck in the other pieces around it. And it always made such cute pumpkins. And you can take and angle them in so that it looks like the pumpkin is narrower at the top. We're going to do one extra step on this. We're going to bring in our pumpkin pie ink. This is pumpkin pie coloring. And we're just going to take and darken the edges a little bit. So I've demonstrated 2 different tools for you. I've used the blending brush and I've also used the dauber. And the dauber is more like what our sponges did, where it gives a denser amount of color. Blending brushes are a lighter, they're a softer way of adding color. So you can see these are a little bit darker on the edges than these. I'm liking the darker look. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with the dauber and I'm going to go over the first 2 that I did. But if you like the lighter look, then I would recommend the blending brushes. I'm bringing in the Tuxedo Black ink and we're going to stamp the message, "You're a blessing." And we're just going to, actually, you know what, let's do this first. Sorry. We're going to cut our tag first. So we're going to use the circle as a guide and we're just going to cut straight in about 1/8, 1/16 of an inch beyond that circle. And we're going to use that spot where it ends to connect this point to that and this point to that same spot. And what we've done is we've created this cute little banner piece now instead. We're going to stamp our message off to the right. I have to hold it closer to me. Lining that up. In fact, I'm going to put it on the black so I can see it better. There we go. And then we're going to use that that length. We're going to shorten it up a little bit, maybe to about there, because we want to have room for a little matte black dot there. And we're going to curl this. So we're going to do the same thing we did the leaf, where we're curling it out and away from us. And then this end right here is going to come back and curl towards us. So you can see it's kind of a wavy little sentiment strip. This pumpkin is going to take up this whole layer. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to start with this one. We're going to bring in our seal adhesive, or you can use the adhesive dots in your kit. And we're just going to add some, oops, now I got the end. Add some adhesive to the back side here. And oh yeah, the narrow ones are at the top. So we're going to make it kind of build off out to the side. And if you want to, you can take and bring in your other ones just as guides to make sure that your pumpkin is still in the right spot. And I'm going to bring it down to the bottom here, or towards the bottom. And we'll just trim this edge off. I know it seems like a waste, doesn't it? That's such a nice piece of cardstock there. We'll try to use it on something else. Okay, then, again, figuring out where the narrow portions are. Let's build that pumpkin back up on here and try not to have it take up the whole thing. Narrow, narrow, good. Okay, so now that we've kind of spaced them a little bit better, we can pull these guys off to the side, kind of get an idea. Well, actually, we'll probably have to bring them back in. I usually layer these flat, but I want to add dimensionals in there, so I'm kind of getting fancy with it here. So we'll just keep these here, and then we'll bring this one in. This is the cutest pumpkin ever. Okay, now we're going to get dimensionaled on this. We're going to add some dimensionals. You might find these in past kits that you have on hand if you've been a subscriber. But on this side, we're going to add dimensionals, but on this side we're not. On this side, we're going to add dimensionals, but on this side we're not. We're just going to add a little seal over here and a little seal over here. Let's peel off the backings. Okay, now keep the angle going in. Try to space them evenly. And if you want to, use your 5th one as a guide. And then this one here will also go up on dimensionals, but we'll do it on both sides so that it pulls away from these two. So these two, oh yeah, let's press down on those sides there. These two are already lifted up somewhat, so if we only put dimensionals down the center of this, it's not going to look like it's pulling away. It's not going to look like it has distance from these two sides. It'll just be kind of like right next to it. So we want to put them on the sides as well. These dimensionals will also give us a little bit of a gap at the top here for when we add our stem, which is going to come from the kit. So the stem of our pumpkin, remember again where you can untwist these and you get this looser paper. Well, I'm going to just unravel it loosely on one end, but keep it kind of tight at the top, and we're going to curve it around. And we're going to snip. And I'm using just a really, really sharp scissors. We used to carry these when we would cut the red rubber ourselves back in the day. Yes, I still have them, but they're great for cutting wire. You could use like a wire cutter, or you could use your snips, but just know that wire is going to dull your scissors a little bit faster than paper will. So that can go right inside like this. In fact, you know what? I probably should have curved it a little bit more. We can do that. These are viney kinds of vegetables. Squash. There we go. So there's our pumpkin stem. Let's just add some adhesive, and to make it quick, we'll just put this kind of adhesive in there. And we don't have to worry about having it completely within this black paper here, because remember, this is a layer on our card. So now we can add this to our card front. It's not a scary pumpkin at all. It's very Thanksgiving-y. Thanksgiving-y? Is that a word? The next step is to add this little guy here. So we're just going to put this up on dimensionals at this point. I've added a matte black dot, and I'm just going to have that coming out from the edge of the pumpkin, like that. If you want to, you can put a little adhesive along the bottom part that touches here, but that would be like a flatter adhesive, because you still want that curve in that, you know, to make it look as if it's kind of, you know what I mean. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to ink up the veins of our leaves for the pumpkin leaves. We're going to grab our bone folder. We're going to do a little bit of a curl here, and then we're going to curl this way, like that. And let's take this one, just put some adhesive in there. Doesn't matter what kind. You could use your multi-purpose liquid glue, something to kind of tuck in your leaf piece so that it's coming out the back side of the pumpkin. And then you could take another one and you could place it up on top here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to curve this little stem though, so it's going to tuck into the pumpkin like that. Something like that. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't figured. Oh, that looks good. We'll do that. In fact, let's add that with a dimensional so it really separates from the other leaf. Is that how I did it? I think so. Okay, and then inside of the card, you could use like basic white cardstock, or you could use this pale papaya color, which is the lighter orange that you see on the pumpkin. And that's what I'm choosing to use. You could take and stamp some of the leaves, maybe in pale papaya on the inside. Where's that stamp set? Here it is. So you could do some little decorations with leaves if you really want to, or we can leave it as is, just to have some writing space on the inside. But I think also I want to do a few of these matte black dots. I'm going to use that take your pick tool and just kind of add a couple little dots here and there. I went crazy with the dots. But there's my version of the pumpkin card that everyone is making. Very fun. We are now going to imagine rectangles out of all of these pieces. So if you look at the bottom section, I think it's easier for me to measure on this side, from this point to this point is just under an inch, yep, 7/8 of an inch. So if we take and let's cut one of those strips down here. And let's cut that off, just so we have 2 points that we can kind of start with. If we take and start from this point and we go up to the top, let's see here. Oh, you know what we'll do? We'll take and cut this flat, and that will stick at the very top of our trimmer, because that edge there will stay nice and straight. We'll be able to come right to this point here in the corner, and then we're going to trim. Use a Post-it note, a sticky note, and we'll hold it in place. You want to have a sharp blade because you're going to be going into really, really thin areas here, so make sure that you've got a sharp blade on your trimmer. Scoot down and through, and then we're going to flip it around and we're going to see, do we have 7/8 of an inch? It looks like we do. So, and again, if it's easier to have the flat side against the top, you can just flip it this way. But use the lines here also as guides. Do you see there's the 1 inch line there? So this is where 7/8 of an inch comes in. And you want to just make sure that this edge of your cardstock is parallel to the line that is already existing on your trimmer. Okay, can you see that there? It's parallel. We'll just hold that in place again and we'll trim. And so yeah, there's not a lot of cardstock for, card layers in this kit. There's no fun decorative envelopes or whatever. So if you're a card maker, you will need to bring in some extra cardstock, because this can really only make a layer. It can't make a full card, unfortunately. It looks like if we take and we go right to the edge where it starts to curve, we can possibly get like 3 1/16 inch for the length. But let's just make it 3 inches. Let's just be safe, because I don't know if all of them will go to 3 1/16. 3 1/16. So there's our rectangular layer. I'm going to do that to, let's see here, probably 5 more of these. Have them all cut out and ready to go. I'm going to bring in now this pack of Assorted Memories and More cards and envelopes. And there's 2 different sizes in here. You get 40 pieces. So there's 10 mini cards and 10 envelopes, and 10 larger cards and envelopes. And so the larger ones hold like a 4x6 layer, and the smaller ones hold a 3x4 layer. They're made for our Memories and More card packs. These are our Memories and More card and envelope packs. So, pre-cut and scored cardstock basically is what it is. They're a little bit larger than the typical size card that we make from these kits, but I wanted to have kind of a wide base just for fun, plus to introduce you to another card-based kit that's a fuller size than our note cards. We've got these all cut and ready to go. You could choose the pale papaya side, or you could choose the soft succulent green side, and I think I'm going to go with the soft succulent green side. So we're going to take and make a monochromatic card if I'm just going to totally choose green, right? So let's layer this on here so that we have about the same distance on the top and the bottom and the side. So I'm looking at all 3 sides here, and I'm making sure that it's about the same. Now I'm going to take my last piece and do the same thing on the other side. And I want to be careful not to press down too hard on my remaining pieces just in case I have to adjust. And as I'm looking in the camera, I can already see that this one's a little bit lower than the other one. That's too funny. Okay, so now we'll just go ahead and add a little adhesive. I probably should have done just a little adhesive on that second one, but that's okay. Just adding a little adhesive on all of these. Well, it's going to move on me because I didn't press it down. And I think I have a little under a quarter-inch gap between these. But if you do your outside pieces first and then build inward, oh, I did pretty good on that, didn't I? You can see how you can lift up and space them when you need to. That's pretty good. So when you got them where you want them, then just take a piece individually, add more adhesive, and lay it down. All right, we have our strips on there. Now these leaves here, love them. You can stamp on them with the stamp that comes in this kit. So you can darken them somewhat, as you can see here. Let me grab that stamp set again. So I've pulled out this stamp and I've inked it up with the soft succulent ink that comes in the kit, and I've just stamped in the center of it. So that gives it a nice darker look. Now if you do that and then you stamp the veins of the leaves, they kind of get hidden in there. They are stamped in there, but you don't see them. I tried stamping off, oh, that's this one here. I tried stamping off and then stamping the veins of the leaves on, but that stamping off the color gives it a really, really light look. So I'm just going to go with stamping the center. And we're going to use these two leaves. Actually, I'm going to keep that open because we're going to make this a totally monochromatic card. This piece is going to get inked up with another greeting from our kit. Let's pull out those stamps and take a look. I think we're going to do thank you on this one though. And then we're going to bring in the 2021 through 23 in color jewels. I already have an open pack, and the color that I want to use is actually the light green and the dark green. So soft succulent and evening evergreen. And there is that finished card. I love monochromatic. It's so relaxing to the eye. You could totally do this up in different colors from your kit. Obviously, the pale papaya background. You could do the red card, you know, the different greens. Just a very fun look. My last project that I'm going to share is a 12 by 12 scrapbook page spread. So two 12 by 12 pages. And for the pages, we're going to use the evening evergreen color from the 12 by 12 pack of new in colors. This is the 2021 through 23 in color pack. The thing with 12 by 12 cardstock currently is that you can only buy them in family packs. But what's wonderful about this one is that you'll get that soft succulent color and you'll get the pale papaya color. So these two colors are colors that are used in the kit, and this one coordinates really well. Then you'll have a couple bonus colors. The 8.5 by 11 you can purchase all singly. So we're also going to bring in some pumpkin pie and some basic black cardstock for our layout. For the images in the pages, we're going to make little pumpkins out of this piece, but we're not going to do that large one. We're going to do individual little ones. So we're going to bring in our paper snips and we're going to trim right along the score lines to separate these pieces out. And this becomes a pumpkin all by itself. It's an odd shaped pumpkin, I know, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be quirky, kind of fun ones. And this one here can even become a pumpkin if you want it to. So what are we going to use for the pumpkins? Well, of course, we have those little jack-o'-lantern stickers that come in the kit. So you could use the mouths as is, you know, this shape here. You can even cut them in half. So what I did is I just cut along I just cut right through the middle all the way through to get a couple different size mouths. So here's one, and then the other one is already on a pumpkin that I've finished. But see, really cute, right? It's not the exact same mouth, so you have different mouths that way. Another way to do a mouth is just to use the triangle. You can do it, that way, or you can take your punch again, the Snowman Builder punch, and just punch right into. See how you have some scraps on this piece here, the one that the little stickers that are used to make the box into a little wheelbarrow. So you can take and punch just a portion like that and have like a half circle mouth, or if you go in even further, you can punch a little half moon, so you have a smiley face like that. So there's different ways to do mouths. And then the eyes, there's a couple other versions too. So, or at least one other version that I thought of, is to take these guys here, the pieces that are in between the spokes of the wheel, and you can put them on your taller pumpkin. They look really good on the taller pumpkin. You can make them look worried. You can make them look wide apart, almost kind of like angry. Oh, that's kind of Batman, I don't know, slanted eyes. Those are, well, there we go. Those are fun. Have to get them even. Then the other eyes, of course, are the eyes that are intended from this sheet here. But again, you can angle them differently. So if you curve them a certain, or turn them a certain way, you can make them look worried or happy or angry or whatever. So we'll just go ahead and put a couple of these on here, like that, and just see what we come up with here. Yeah, they don't have to be up and down triangles, do they? Kind of fun, right? Oh, you can even turn the mouth upside down. Make it look sad or angry. A few other elements that I'm going to have on the page layout is I'm going to have these leaves. I've already stamped a few of them with the soft succulent ink that comes in your kit. And we have these fun embellishments, again, the matte black dots and the in color jewels that actually coordinate with that paper. So if you got the whole 12 by 12 pack, you'd have some fun purple and pink colors to go with that as well. And then we're going to use this sheet, which comes from the cute Halloween 6x6 designer paper that we used earlier. This is the one that says Boo on one side and it has little ghosts on the other side. And all I've done is cut little strips that are, I believe, 3/8 of an inch wide. They might, you know what, yeah, 3/8 of an inch. That's what they were. 3/8 of an inch wide, or tall, I should say. And then these little wire guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to curve one end, and then we're going to curve it even more so that that little curly Q kind of goes on the inside like that. And then we're going to round as we go and kind of straighten and then curve the other direction. And now what we've got here is just kind of a scrolly little look. And that's going to be applied to the page. It will give the scrapbook page a little bit of a lift. So, just keep that in mind. If that bugs you, then you can omit it. A lot of people are okay with 3D objects on their 12 by 12 pages, but if that adds to the thickness of your albums, then you may not want to do that. And we've got some finished pumpkins here. I think what I'm going to be doing, though, is using this type of pumpkin throughout the pages. This squatty little guy is just going to be reserved for a card later on. So here are the main elements of my right hand side of my layout. You can see I've got 3 leaves here, 3 pumpkins. I've got some black cardstock up here with the strips of cardstock or the designer paper that I'm going to put side by side. And then I've got a couple photo mats in different sizes. So let me tell you what the sizes are right now. This is basically a half of a sheet of basic black cardstock. So it's 4 1/4 inches by 11. These pieces here, and I've actually got 2 on the opposite page as well. So the pale papaya color is 4 inches by 5 3/8. And the larger piece underneath in pumpkin pie is 4 1/8 by 5 1/2. And then these little tiny photo mats right here, the pumpkin pie is 2 5/8 by 3 1/8. which makes the pale papaya 2 3/4 by 3 1/4 inches. And that's the same for these. So those are your basic measurements that you'll need for your layers on your page. Again, these are 3/8 of an inch and they're 6 inches wide. We're going to do some tearing to kind of give a little flow of imagery because we have this same design on the opposite page. But you can see how I've sort of laid out my elements. I like to do that before I assemble my pages. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these layers together. I'm going to stick them down onto the page. I'm going to add this to my black. I'll add my pumpkins, but I want to make sure that they follow the curve of my scroll. All right. Hopefully you saw how I did that. I just used this as a guide, and you know, it can be tweaked or whatever, but I laid the piece on there, then I lifted it up and trimmed along there, and then I added an extra trim within. In fact, I'm going to curve this just a little bit, just so that it would not sit too high, because of course I cut below the scroll and then I want to position it right above. So I kind of needed to go in another 1/8 of an inch. These guys are going to go up on dimensionals, so they stick out a little bit more. So I'm not going to glue them down yet. I'm going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue on this piece. But first I want to add this to the page. So I've got my photo mats already in place, and I kind of use this here as a guide. I didn't tape it down, but I like to do mathematical stuff, so I have all of my photo mats kind of equally spaced apart. This piece is going to be torn so that it kind of comes down like this. And the one on the opposite side is going to flow in the opposite direction so that they look like they're kind of going into each other a bit. So I want to start down here because I want it to be nice and wide. And I'm going to bring my right hand towards me and my left hand away as I tear so that I see the core of the cardstock. You can kind of see that in there right there. It's fun to see. And as we tear the designer paper too, we want to be careful not to see much of the color come through from behind. If we had like a really bright pink or something like that behind here, it might show through on the core of the designer paper, but we're not seeing that here, which is great. So that can get glued down like that. So I'm on the final steps now. I've added dimensionals behind some of the pumpkins. I've got stems, and those I just cut from one of these extra pieces here. Some of them I've spread out wider, some of them I've angle cut. Just really simple stems. You could do, you know, brown cardstock again if you don't want the lift. I've added some black matte dots over here. I'm going to also be adding some of the in color jewels. I'm curving a couple of the leaves with my bone folder tool, and I just realized that I stuck this down onto the photo mat, so I think I'm going to tuck a little bit further here. Might have to trim my leaf stem here. Tuck it so it's a little bit higher. There, now my dimensional is not on my photo, and I can slide a photo underneath here when I want to mat it. And so I'm going to add a couple more leaves over here, add the jewels, and I think I'll be pretty much done with the pages. Ta-da! Now that you've watched my video, I hope you can see that there is so much more to these kits than meets the eye. With just a few extra supplies and some imagination, you can go beyond and make so much more. Want to give these paper pumpkin kits a try? They're just $22 plus tax per month in the US. Shipping is included. You control which months you get your kits, and there's no commitment or obligation. And by clicking on my personalized link below and starting your subscription with me as your demonstrator, you'll have access to my exclusive paper pumpkin project ideas too. What's in store next month? Picture a peaceful Christmas with the Peaceful Christmas Paper Pumpkin Kit. This glimmering and gleaming kit is your creative kickstart to Christmas card making. With sprinkles of snow, shimmering silver skies, and heartwarming holiday wishes, you'll have enough elements and embellishments to create 10 Christmas cards, 5 of 2 different designs. But of course, I'll show you how to make more than that. So make sure that you have an active subscription by October 10th. Thank you for watching. It builds creativity to think outside the box. To access paper pumpkin kit ideas that I'll share in the future, be sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel and my website, because I share even more each month in other special blog posts. In fact, click on my website link below so that you can access the visual supply list and view close-up photos of all that I've shared today. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.